Hey, welcome back to PACERTalks About Bullying. I'm Bailey. We're glad you're here. On this week's episode, we are so excited to have some very special high school students as our guests. Today we have Santino, Olivia, Jackson, Eloise, and Grace, who are going to share their perspective on bullying as they look back on their middle school experience. With that being said, let's get started. What type of bullying do you think is most common in middle school?
I think the type of bullying most common in middle school is face-to-face bullying.
I think probably cyberbullying is becoming most common in middle school. I think that also a lot of times there are things that are really hurtful that aren't intended to be hurtful through social media that can be really challenging to know how to deal with.
Let's see, I guess name calling and fist fights, really.
Verbal and cyberbullying.
So it will start off more face-to-face, but once you hit around like 8th grade, I feel like it starts getting more undercover, under the wraps, and more texting each other and saying negative things about each other.
For middle schoolers, it's definitely how everyone's changing. Guys get made fun of because they're only 5'5", but their best friend's 6'5" because he had his growth spurt at 7th grade. For girls, they don't dress as cool as the other girls, so they get made fun of, but everyone's changing, and the kids that change fast are making fun of the kids that are taking a little bit longer to change.
Do you think bullying happens more often in friend groups or outside of friend groups?
I think it can tend to be in both.
Outside and inside.
I think it probably happens more inside of friend groups. That was my own experience, so I guess I'm just sort of speaking from that.
Both ways.
Personally, that at a certain point in my friend group, there was one girl who just decided she no longer liked me. So she made it very clear to the friend group, and she would use not appropriate words to say on camera, but to bash me to my other friends to try to make them to join her side instead of my side.
What's one thing you wish you'd known about bullying before you started middle school?
How often it happens and how you can prevent it.
In middle school, there was a lot of sort of indirect bullying that wasn't sort of perceived as bullying by adults, but it was really challenging to handle. So a lot of times somebody would post something or take like an ugly picture of you that you didn't want out there, but as a joke, and it's hard to know how to stand up to a friend who's doing that.
I wish I knew the type of bullying that would occur. You watch TV shows of bullying in middle school and it's all very physical, but that's really not what happens. It's more emotional and mental and less physical. You don't see kids getting punched in the hallways. That doesn't really happen.
To always know that to never give up and to always reach out to someone that you can trust. Sometimes it's not necessarily an adult. Sometimes when I went to my friend, I got more help with her and her support and her encouraging me to stand up for myself.
If there's something out there that you don't want, you need to find help and stand up to the person who's bullying you by finding help from an adult.
What advice would you give to middle school students if they see bullying happening?
Step up or go to a trusted adult.
My advice would be to stand up. It's hard. You're going to feel awkward telling a teacher that you saw a kid getting picked on, but it's nice to know you have a friend, even if you're not an actual friend. You never know where friendships might come from, and it might come from someone standing up for you. They might turn out to be, your best man at your wedding. You never know.
Simply get help, I guess.
You need to recognize that you have an incredible amount of power to help somebody's situation. I always remind myself of this quote. I can't remember who said it, but it goes something like this. You can't necessarily change the world, but you can change the world for one person. If you're witnessing bullying, you have an incredible opportunity to help somebody's life and make somebody feel less alone.
Do something about it. That doesn't necessarily mean go to the person who's bullying the kid and tell them to stop. Sometimes just little things like inviting that student to sit with you at lunch or making sure that they know that you're there can change the whole situation to them.
Get your parents involved, simply.
Intervening doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get in the middle of a fight. More often it means that you need to find a trusted adult and tell them what you're witnessing and help use them to help the situation. If you're a bystander, you need to say something because you have an incredible power and choice and agency to make a difference.
Is there any other advice you'd like to share with a new student entering middle school?
It's okay to be awkward. I wore sweatpants every day during 7th grade, and it's okay to be awkward. You don't need to wear a ton of makeup. Guys, you don't need to wear all the other clothes boys are wearing.
Choose your friends, choose them well.
And get through it, I guess.
The most important thing as a middle school student is to make sure that you're not letting anybody make you doubt your self-worth.
To be yourself and to not judge someone because they're different with you. In life, you're going to meet many people who have different backgrounds with you, who dress differently, act differently. Everyone's raised differently with a different family.
And so it's a really vulnerable time when you're trying to figure out who you are and who you sort of identify as, and you can't let other people make you doubt your self-worth. You always have to hold on to, I'm worthy of respect and love and kindness and safety, and if anybody's making you feel like you're not, you need to recognize that, be gentle with yourself, and find help. Make sure if you're ever experiencing something negative or if you're in a toxic relationship to find help, because that's really the best way. When you get people to help you and you find a community and when you stand together, that's the best way to help your situation.
Just be who you want to be. Be awkward, be weird, just be you.
And special thanks again to Santino, Olivia, Jackson, Eloise, and Grace for sharing some amazing advice. That's all that we have for this week's episode, but make sure to join us right back here next week. And remember, when we stand together, no one stands alone. See ya!